Hello and welcome to Tuesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic on a bitterly cold day here in the UK. Winter has arrived, I'm afraid. It's most distressing. And today, well, we're trying a fog of war Sudoku, as you can see from your screens. It is the morning after the night before. Mark and I streamed the Caterdokupillar last night. Absolutely brilliant. Me and Marista deserves so much credit. So, I mean, have I got a picture? I'm sure I have. Look. Oh, no. How can that go? Why has that gone up there? I don't understand computers. Let me try and shrink this slightly so that it's in a better place. Can I do that? Oh yes, there we go. Yeah, so I think we got to about here on the Caterdokupillar. We did 16 puzzles in 2 highly interrupted hours, both by me having to look at chat to talk to people, and also by a couple of technical hitches. But yeah, it's just fabulous stuff. Really, really fabulous stuff. If you haven't tried the Caterdokupillar puzzles, I definitely recommend it. There'll be a link in the description. But to all those of you who joined us last night, I hope you had a good time. Thank you very much for watching with us. Anyway, I should talk about today's puzzle, shouldn't I? Double Scaled Harmony by GDC. Lots of you have recommended this. Fog of War Sudoku, of course, so popular. Do check out our brand new app, which has just come out. But yeah, this one it's got yin yang in it. Don't worry if you don't know what any of this means. I will explain when we do the rules properly. And I think there were doublers, did I read? Yeah, there's yin yang and doublers behind the fog, or maybe even not behind the fog as well. But yeah, this has got a whopping rating on Logic Masters Germany, and actually GDC is responsible for at least 2 of my top 5 Fog of War puzzles ever. Yeah, there was the one with the incredible cell. If you've not seen that one or tried that puzzle, definitely recommend it. Anyway, we will get to this in a moment or two's time. What do I need to tell you about before we do the birthdays? Only one more thing. It is the day before the closing date of our competition. Duality 2, the Skunkworks incredible collection of puzzles, has gone up there as well. I don't understand. But yeah, this is one where we're having we're having the offer of a slightly different prize. Normally, if you win one of our Patreon competitions, you win gaming keys. But this one, you'll be offered the chance anyway. You don't have to take it at all to make a Sudoku video with me. So you can say you'd like to do an easy one or a medium one or a hard one. We'll get the testers to suggest something, and then you and I will have a go at it together. Hopefully on the screen. Hopefully the technology will work, and you never know, maybe the video will appear on the channel at some point. So if that floats your boat, then try and get your entry in by the end of tomorrow to be in with a chance. So that's Patreon competition, and let's do some birthdays. I'll start. Oh, I've got one late birthday actually. Let me find that first. Yap. Over there in the Netherlands, your wife Nadia did write, but wrote at about 2 p.m. yesterday, which was just too late to make the cut-off for yesterday's video. I'm sorry about that. I hope you had a great birthday. I understand that you watch the channel in the evenings whilst doing work in the kitchen, perhaps making cake. Anyway, yeah, I hope you had a good one, and I hope you got some good chocolate cake. Now, all the rest of the birthdays, I think, are on time. Let's go back to the top of the list. Pelds, it's your birthday today, your 24th birthday. And I know this because your girlfriend Tess wrote to us. And I'm told, I think the 2 of you prefer our word stuff to our Sudoku stuff, from what I can gather from Tess's email. So I don't even know if you'll get this message, but I hope you do. And I know you're not keen on cake, but are having cookies as a birthday treat. That's perfectly fine, especially if they're heavily chocolated. Next, George, over in Leeds, or up there in Leeds, I should really say, given where I am in the country. You've turned 23 today, and I know this because your girlfriend Lara wrote to us. Very complimentary she was about you as well, George. Described you as her lifeline, her home, and her joy, and a wonderful guitarist to boot, and wondered if I could play some Bob Dylan. Oh, I do love Bob Dylan. I'll do, no, but the short answer is probably not. Yesterday I did Leonard Skinner. The next intro I'll do, I think, will be sailing to Philadelphia. But anyway, sorry about that. And happy birthday, George. Next, Justice. Justice over there in Canada. What a brilliant name. Justice, you've turned 28 today. And I'm not having chocolate cake, but I'm having worms in dirt. which actually sounds horrible, but it probably would taste nice. It's crumbled chocolate cake with chocolate pudding, crushed Oreos, and gummy worms. For anyone wondering, that sounds suitably calorific to me. Next, Jack, your girlfriend Liza wrote to us to tell us that you were turning 25 today, and saying that I had to tell you to eat more cake as you're far too healthy. I can tell you, if you're turning 25, this is the age at which you can eat as much cake as you like. It's a fabulous age because your body will digest anything. So ship in the calories, ship in the chocolate icing. Won't do any harm to you at all. I used to buy whole buckets of cookies when I was in my 20s. There was, what was it called? Millie's Cookies or something. I used to make special trips to Bromley, of all places, to go to Millie's Cookies. No, it changed to Millie's Cookies. It was called the Cookie Jar or something. Anyway, I look back on it and I think, gosh, if I ate one of those now, I don't know what it would do to me, but I used to eat like 2 dozen in one go. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. Last birthday is Tiffen. Tiffen, you've turned 32 today, and I know this was your best friend Xavier wrote to us, and said that the two of you get together once a week to solve a puzzle that's appeared on the channel. I like that, and you sort of stop the video and then work out the next step, then play the video again. Well, I think that would be fun. And Tiffen, I hope that you have an absolutely great birthday today with some cake, and that's all the birthdays done. So let's have a look at doing some solving ourselves. Let's have a look at Double Scaled Harmony by GDC. Now, what does GDC have in store for us? These are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply, which means we've got to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. I think my brain hiccuped there and almost said 1 to 6, because last night's puzzles were, of course, all 1 to 6. But no, this is normal Sudoku, 1 to 9. Fog. The grid is partially covered in fog, and placing correct digits reveals clues in the surrounding 3x3 area. So let's say we worked out that clue. If we got that one, it would actually clear the fog from all of those squares. So you sort of get this disproportionate effect depending on how much fog there is around the cell you manage to deduce. Now, yin-yang. Shade some cells such that all shaded cells are orthogonally connected, all unshaded cells are orthogonally connected, and each 2x2 area contains shaded and unshaded cells. So I will use my usual method to demonstrate a possible yin-yang shading. Boom versus the interlocking comb. Boom. So this could be a shading of the puzzle. Now let me explain why. You can trace through the entire green area along green cells that share an edge with one another. That's what orthogonally connected means. You don't have to use a diagonal connection. So if that one was green, the puzzle would be broken, because this green doesn't connect to all its friends via shares that via green cells that share an edge with it. And what's more, the blue cells are not orthogonally connected anymore either, so that would be bad. So you can see all the green cells are connected, all the blue cells are similarly connected, and if we hunt in the grid, I don't think you'll find a 2x2 area that contains just one colour. So this is a possible shading, yeah, that's what we've got to achieve. Now, how do we achieve that? That's a good question. It then says the value of an unshaded cell is its digit. The value of a shaded cell is double its digit. And then arrows, values along an arrow sum to the value of the attached circle. Arrows don't overlap. So that means those 5 cells there sum to this, which will give us an idea about the possible shading of this circle, I think. But that's solving, and I'm not allowed to do that while we do the instructions. Anyway, do have a go. As I say, highly recommended. The way to play, as usual, is to click the link under the video, and that will take you to a page that looks identical to this one, where you can play the puzzle on whichever device takes your fancy. But now, I get to play. Let's get cracking. I mean, the good thing about Fog of War is you can only look in one place. Well, let's think about this corner cell, because we've got 5 digits here being summed, and we don't know whether any of these digits are doubled. Let's assume none of them are doubled. They would be a minimum of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, the triangular number for 5 is 15, so the minimum sum of these squares is 15. I cannot write 15 in here, so this must be a doubler, which means, what did it have to be? Shaded or something. So what colours should we use today? I'll probably just go blue and orange, I think, on the basis that they are, I think, the colours that are most colourblind friendly in our palette. So this is a doubler. And it's quite a big doubler, isn't it? Because the minimums, well, also, yeah, that's actually, that is interesting. I was going to say the minimum sum of this is 15. It can't be 15 because 15 isn't even. It must be an even number because we're doubling a number to get the value of this square. Now, so that square is 8 or 9 because it must be more than 15. But there's an issue here, isn't there? Because what I can't do is make all of these squares undoubled. Because if I make them all undoubled, well, how would we avoid a blue 2x2 down here in the grid? I mean, this is the only, what we'd be saying here is this is the only orange cell in the grid, because any other orange cell definitely can't orthogonally connect with this orange cell. In fact, maybe I should talk about that. Yeah, let's talk about yin-yang. There are some secrets of yin-yang that I'm almost certainly going to require, and certainly I should explain. So let's talk about them. What we can't do in any yin-yang puzzle is have a checkerboard within a 2x2. And that's because I have to orthogonally connect the orange and the blue, but let's try and orthogonally connect the orange. However I do it, and whatever route I take to achieve it, you can see that I'll create a pond creating this that contains this blue, and if I went the other way it would contain this blue. But the point is that this blue now cannot get out of its pond and connect to this blue. It just can't do it without crossing orange. So you can't have a checkerboard. Now that normally has an implication for the perimeter, so let's just deal with that. In fact, I'm going to get rid of all the colour in order to do this. The perimeter of a yin-yang puzzle can absolutely all be one colour. That's fine. That doesn't break the rules. But what would happen if we introduced a second colour into the perimeter? So let's introduce some blue over here. That's fine as well. We haven't yet broken the rules of yin-yang. But now, what would be the effect of introducing a bit of blue over here? Could we change the colour in the perimeter a sort of second time? And the answer is no. Because if you do this, remember you've got to connect the blues together. And however you achieve that connection, you're creating a wall between the orange in the perimeter and the rest of the orange in the perimeter. Oh, you could do it by connecting the orange if you like. If we connect the orange to each other, we're preventing this blue from being connected orthogonally to this blue. So all you can do in a yin-yang, you can have no change of colour in the perimeter, or 2 stretches of colour, but you can't introduce any more than that. And that often is very important in understanding how to start these puzzles. Now, we worked out this was orange, but we also know there must be some orange down here. So this orange has to get out. It cannot be just surrounded by blue. And that means, how does it get out? how many cells does it need to get out? Well, the minimum would be sort of 2 cells, wouldn't it? If there was only one, if only one cell on this arrow was orange, how could this get out? It couldn't. It could take this one or this one, but the rest of it is going to create a wall of blue. So at least 2 of the cells on this arrow are orange, and therefore doubling the values in those cells. And that means that the corner cell is a 9. And the way I'm getting that is I'm saying, okay, well, if I populate these cells with the absolute bare minimum I can, and then I double the very smallest values in order to make sure that the overall arrow adds up to as little as I can. I mean, if I clear, hopefully it's clear, that's 15. If I double the 5, I'm creating 5 of extra value. If I only double the 1, I'm only creating 1 of extra value. So it's better to double the low numbers if you're constrained in terms of the total. So I could double the 1 and the 2. They would be then worth 6. 1 plus 2 is 3, double is 6. And then 3, 4 and 5 is 12. 6 plus 12 is 18. So the absolute minimum I can create for values along this is 18, which is doubled 9. And I'm not going to get any, well, I was going to say I'm not going to clear any fog with that because the fog is nowhere near the 9. Okay, these squares are 6, 7 and 8, which that's a very peculiar looking arrow, isn't it? That's a doubler, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, in fact, is that definitely an 8? The minimum sum, if this was a 1, then this is adding up to at least 14, isn't it? But if this was 7, this would add up to more than 14, because it would be 6 plus 8 plus at least 1. So this is 8. There's no way of making this work by putting 7 or 6 here, because you include the 8 in the sum on the arrow, and it takes it too high. So this is 8. It's doubled, so 16 is the total that we need to get to on the arrow. So this square is 1, 2 or 3. We don't know that the arrow ends here, do we? There's nothing in the rules. No, I don't think I read anything suggest, because if the arrow does end there, that has to be a 3. These both have to be blue, don't they? There's no way you can double either of those. They both have to be blue. So that's our first blue in the grid. We know that within this sequence, we've got 2 orange for the 1 and the 2, and 3 blue. Right, those 3 can't be blue, because if these 3 were all blue, we'd make a blue 2 by 2, wouldn't we? So at least one of those squares is orange. So orange I think has to come down here. If orange came down here. No, that doesn't work. Good grief. Hang on, I think I might have made a mistake already. I don't actually... Oh, no, I've got to come out. I've got to come out through the 8. Oh, that's weird. This is classic GDC. It's just nonsense. It's a whole cornucopia of nonsense in the corner of the grid that does the most surprising things. Right, watch this. So, because at least one of those squares is orange, I presumed that we were going to be coming down there with a 1, 2 pair. This was going to be 3, 4 and 5 and blue. And that looks lovely, doesn't it? But imagine we were in this situation. Can you see the problem? The problem is this digit now is a 3. But what's more, it's an undoubled 3. And if it's an undoubled 3, its colour is blue. And now we can't connect the oranges up. We've sort of fenced in the orange area in the top right of the grid. So that's not correct. Now what that means is, because one of these is orange, we definitely can't get out sort of by coming straight across there either. So imagine this was orange. Well, that would work actually if that was orange. I thought it might. I thought it was going to have to be that way, but maybe not. But yeah, one of these has to be orange. And we've only got 2 oranges to play with. So this is definitely blue. I suppose that's the simplest way of seeing it actually, because one of these at least is orange. And we have to get out of the box. This has to get out of the box. It has to connect to something, either, you know, it has to either do that or this or that. But it can't do this, because then this would all be blue. So this definitely has to be blue. And now the only way, because we know it's not double orange here, the only way we get out of the box is through that little junction. And now, how do I know which one of those is orange? Or maybe I don't. I know one of them is. That's got to be blue, doesn't it now? That's also clear. And perhaps it was more clear. So these are definitely from 3, 4, 5. This is definitely from 1 or 2. Do I now know what this is? It's very unlikely to be a doubler, but I think it could be a doubler. Well, no. No, it actually can't be, can it? That is blue. Because if it was doubled, we're looking for a value of 3 to add on to our 13. So I can't double 2 here. I'd have to double 1, but then I need another 1 to add on to get to my 3 that I need. So this, in fact, is blue, and that is orange. And now, this is orange, obviously, to avoid a 2 by 2. Oh, hang on a minute. This is clever. Right. I've now got this. Look, I've got 2 colours in the perimeter. I've got blue here, and orange there. So I can't have any more changes of colour in the perimeter. In other words, this blue and this blue have to connect all round the edge. That's going to be very important, right? So we can put oranges into those cells to avoid 2 by 2s. This has got a doubler on its arrow, but it is itself not a doubler. This looks very... This can't even be a 9. If this is... Okay, let's say that's an 8. Let's just put 8 in there. So that's a natural 8 with a doubler here. So let's say that was a doubled 1. If that was a doubled 1, then this could be a 2-3 pair. That gets me to 7. Yes, okay, this arrow is actually forced. So you can't figure this out, I don't think. I thought I would be able to, but I can't. But I might be able to do it now, because I think this is going to be a 1, and that's going to put a 1 here, and then the world is going to be golden. Or at least slightly more orange. Let me explain. Right. There's no way to make this have a value bigger than 8. And there is no way to make these 4 cells, which are all contributing a value that we're having to sum to get to this value, you can't make them add up to less than 8. The only way of getting to 8 is 1 here, 2, 3 here in blue, blue here, and a 1. Oh, and let's double check this. So now I've got 1, 6, double 1 gets me to 8. So that must be what it is. So I think we're going to clear loads of fog here. The only place for 1 now is there in box 3. So this becomes blue. Whoops, I want to get rid of the 1 and the 2 there. This is 2 and 3. So this isn't 3. This is 8. Let's put that in. And now I'm not sure. That's no longer a 1. I really just want to write 3 in here. If I do that, that's a 3. 3 over there. If this is a 2, then we have to put a 1 there, exactly there, because it couldn't go here by Sudoku or here by Sudoku. So 1 is over here. 1 is down there. There's a great big thing floating through the fog here. And another arrow peeping out here. Now. Oh. Okay, this orange has to get out. It's sort of penned in, isn't it? So those two are both orange. They're both on arrows. And, oh, hang on. Right. So, okay. Now the minimum value of these two squares is 4 and 5. And they're both being doubled. Now, one thing I did mull over just briefly, but it just doesn't work, but let me explain, is if that had been the circle, you could have done that if these weren't the same colour. So imagine this was a doubler and this was blue, and this was, it won't work. So yeah, say that was 6 and that was 3. I mean, it doesn't work by Sudoku here, but that would work mathematically, wouldn't it? We'd double 3 to get the 6. So you could have had a 2-cell arrow, but not once. Not once. They're both the same colour. So what I can deduce from that is that this arrow goes into an orange circle, because the minimum value of these two squares is a 4-5 pair, both double. That's 18 of value. In fact, isn't that the point? How is it not that? It must be that. Oh, okay, where's 9? Where's 9 in this box? That's a much easier question. You can't put 9 on this arrow, because by the time you've added anything to it and then doubled it, the circle will be an impossible number to put in the Sudoku. That is a 9. Yeah, and that's what I was expecting. So this is 9. This is 4, 5. This is 3 by Sudoku. That is knocking. This is a 2 now. So and that confirms what we thought was going on if this was a 2 under the fog. So the world is sort of making a bit more sense. What a beautiful puzzle, though, isn't it? It's really, really clever. Now, there's an 8 down here by Sudoku. What are those squares? 6 and 7. Now, can we do... This we know is a doubler, so that's orange. That's a doubler. Where's my orange gone? I think I did put orange there and it disappeared. So that, oh, that's a doubled orange. So this needs to go. It needs to go to an orange circle. Does that have to be... Oh, it can't be there, can it? Hang on, there's something gone wrong here. Because... Well, the value of this is at least 12. Now let's say that was a 2, so that's 14. If that was a 1, 15. This is really constrained, actually. You see, this square here can't be the circle for this arrow, because if it was a circle, we'd have a circle going into a circle. But we need an orange cell, which, so these don't work. So I think that this is the only candidate for the circle that gives rise to this arrow. Because what we're then doing is we're adding at least a 2 and a 1 here to a doubled 6. So we're on 15. Yeah, I think that's right. Because okay, so a different way to think about this is given that this is not the circle we're looking for, the earliest orange circle that we could have that would in any way be possible is here. So if that was orange and a circle, how would we connect it to this? Well, we can't go here because this is belonging to another arrow. We could go here, 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 here. So that's the shape of the arrow. Now the minimum sum of these 3 digits would be a 1, 2, 3 triple. And we would actually know the order. And it would be 1, 2, 3 adding to 6. All of those are undoubled. Plus a doubled 6 would get us to 18, which is the most we could ever have here if this was 9. So I think that's a 9. And it is. And that confirms we've got 3 here, 1 here, 2 here. This is 6. This is 7. These squares are 3, 4, 5. And these squares are 4, 5, 8. Look at this one. Oh, I could have actually deduced it was going to be that shape once I'd worked out the shape of this one under the fog. Because, no, I could have done because these were exposed at that point by the 9 lifting the fog. So I could have seen that this arrow couldn't go anywhere because it's not allowed to cross other arrows. I'm sure I read that. Arrows don't overlap. Well, overlap and cross. Yeah, okay. So how does this work? Oh, we don't know. Oh, sorry. I thought it was going to be totally clear. This is like, this is like, it's a 4-8 pair. I was going to say it's like a Kropki dot, a black Kropki dot, because one of the digits has to be double the other. But the thing I was surprised about is I don't think we know which way round it goes. I mean, we know that the 4, because it's a black Kropki dot, because one of the digits is double the other, we can't use 1, 2 or 3 on it, so it must be 4, 8. But if... Yeah, it works both. It can work either way round. So it isn't the case you have to put the 8 in the circle. Because if you put the 4 in the circle and double it, and then you make this blue, that will still work. Oh dear. This is classic GDC. Look, I've got a 1 in a circle now. That doesn't feel right at all. Okay, so hang on. Yeah, there's no halvers, is there? So the 1 must be doubled. Whichever one of these, and it must lead into a 2. That must be how that looks. But what I don't know is which one of these is doing this. So one of these I'm going to claim is a 1 in orange above a 2 in blue. And that will make the values work. It can't be anything else. So there's either a 1, 2 pair here or here. I don't think we know. I'm sorry, I don't see how to do that. Okay, let's check Sudoku then. 5, 6 and 7 into these squares. Which is probably... oh dear, dear, dear. I shouldn't be surprised, but I am a bit. That's orange. But to avoid a 2 by 2 here. That's a... So now we must go to an orange arrow, mustn't we? So is this doubled 7? If that's doubled 7, it's 14. No, it's not. That is... Oh, well, that's actually massive. Right. This is not only blue, well, the first point is this is not the circle of this arrow. Because if it was, its maximum value would be double 7 for 14. The minimum value of this is double 5 for 10, which means these two squares would have to add up to the difference of 4. But there's a 1 in the box already, and the minimum sum of these is 5, therefore. So if this was the circle, it's simply impossible. So it's not the circle. Now, knowing it's not the circle means it's blue. Because if it was orange, the minimum sum of these would be 5 plus 6 doubled, which is too many to put in a single cell. So this is blue, and now somehow this has to add up. The minimum sum of this is 2, obviously. I think this has to be a circled 9. I think that's what's going on here. Because, okay, let's think about this. If this is doubled 5, the minimum value of this is 6. So we're on 16 plus 2, that's 18, that gives me a 9 here. If I was to double a 6 here, it blows up, doesn't it? Because then I can put 5 there, but by doubling the 6, I've cost myself too much extra. I'd need this to be a 1, which it can't be. So it is, well, what we're learning is that is 9. This is 5, this is 6, this is 2, this is 2, this is 3. This is blue. Well, firstly that's doubled. That's blue. This has to get out to meet all its friends. This has to get out to meet all its friends. This is a 7 by Sudoku, so that's a 7, that's a 6. That's a 6, that's a 7. We're being made to do Sudoku in the Sudoku puzzle. Outrageous. Now, what does this mean? Oh, good grief. Right, now there's a 2, there's a 2 in here as well. So one of these is a 1, 2, and the other one has a 2 in the circle. So that could be above a doubled 1, but is that going to automatically checkerboard the world? I'm not sure. So let me just show you what I'm worried about here. I'm worried that, say this was the 1 and the 2. We know that this must be doubled, don't we? So it would go orange above blue. We know in that situation that this is a 2, because these are a 1, 2 pair. Now this 2, how does that work? If it could be, you see, it could be a 1 here, doubled, above a blue 2. But you can see that's creating a checkerboard if I do that. So what I'm saying is, if we put 1 here and double it, and leave that one alone, you get that pattern, which we know can't exist in the puzzle. So that is not what's going on. So what's going on is that whichever of these is a 2 is not above a doubled 1. But could it be above? Yeah, what I'm now wondering is if imagine this was a 2 and it was natural, and it went down to a 1 here and a 1 here, for example, with a diagonal arrow. So you're adding 2 1s together on the arrow to give you the 2 we're looking for. That's possibly what's happening. I'm not sure. There may be other possibilities. I mean, if the 2 in one of these gets doubled, then it would have a value of 4. And that's going to give a lot more flexibility. Yeah, I'm a bit unsure about that. Let's try and do Sudoku then. If in doubt, that's a 7. That is Sudoku. Sudoku is our friend. Okay, so these digits are 4, 5... Oh, no, 4, 8, 9. Does that help? Probably not. 7 is in one of those squares by Sudoku. Is it this one? Or maybe it's yin-yang. Can I do some yin-yang somewhere else? Let's think about that for a second or two. I'm not seeing anything obvious. I mean, I do appreciate that I've still got to get this worm at the top, this sort of incomplete Loch Ness monster. That's still got to go and connect to all its friends. So something here is orange, but that's, well, we know one of these is orange. If that's orange and that's blue, I'd have to make sure this is orange. So it'd be 3 oranges there. That would be blue. That would create a checkerboard, but it's incredibly hard to see. I mean, let me just show you, explain what I'm seeing there, because it's complicated, but it doesn't work. I'll only use this if I can't see something else. So what I'm saying is, imagine that we know that these two are different colours. So let's say I go orange here and blue here. Well, the point is I now have to avoid a checkerboard here, which means I have to make this orange. And I've got to avoid, in fact, let's not even worry about that. So actually, maybe this is the next step. Because you see, I've got to avoid a 2 by 2 here by making this orange, but then this has to avoid a 2 by 2, so I have to make that blue, and I'm forced to create a checkerboard. Yeah, actually, I'm less unconvinced that that isn't what's required here, because there is a very natural implication of a blue here. Maybe it's as simple as that. If you put blue here, because of this lovely short arrow, you have to go orange, orange, blue because of this 2 by 2, and it breaks. So I think that's fair enough, actually. It's really pretty. I was doing it in a bit of a convoluted way by thinking about this square, but you don't have to. You can simply ask, is that blue? And it simply isn't. So that is orange. This is blue. And now, how does this work then? So that's 4. This is 8. So that's 8. We're not clearing fog there, but that's probably it's probably fine. I don't know. Right, this square is now not 4. Okay, do we earn any other things as a result of that? It's strange, actually, because doing it that way round puts no pressure on anything. Well, that's not strictly true. You now can't make this square orange, because if you do, let me show you. If you make that orange, to avoid a 2 by 2 here, you have to make this blue, and that creates a checkerboard. So that's definitely blue, and it looks like the way the orange is escaping from the top of the grid is down this corridor. But if that was blue, you could still come down there, I think. And we know one of these, whichever one of these is a 1, is orange. Again, it's quite... no, actually, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Right, we might have to do other things. Let's have a look at this box. We can at least pencil mark this arrow, can't we? So 3, 4, 6, 8 into those squares. And 6 is not on the arrow there. That can't be a 3, 4 pair adding to 7. But obviously we can adjust that because of Sudoku. But let's just see if there's anything else. That's not 3. That's not 8. Okay. I'm not sure what that means. Well, doesn't it mean that this is orange? That might be what it means. Because if this is not orange, There's no way. The minimum these add up to is 7, if they're 3 and 4 and both blue. But if that's not the case, I can't double one of 3 or 4 and keep this down. If you double 3 and add 4 to it, you get to 10, which is double. So this would be definitely orange. And if you add 3 to 8, say, it still requires this to be a double-digit number. So this is doubled, which means it's even. So if there is a 3 on here, it has to be doubled. Yeah, it's going to restrict the value of this, isn't it? That's probably what we have to think about, I think. We could do double 3 and 4, which is 10, which would be double 5 here. So that could be a 5, I think. I'm just trying to think about whether there's a problem with that. I'm not seeing one. If you do double 3 and 8, that's 14. That doesn't work because you need a 7 here doubled, and you can't have a 7 here. So what else is possible here? Oh, I see. You could go 6 doubled and just add 4 and 8 from here. Although... oh, that's gorgeous. Okay, that doesn't work. Right. Okay. So I think... the only way I'll explain why 6 doesn't work in a second, but the only thing I've come up with that works here... oh, hang on. What about 8 here? No. Yeah, if I double the 4, if this was 4, 8, and I doubled the 4, and this was 8, that might work as well. Bobbins, that's really annoying. That's really annoying. Okay, let me explain why 6 doesn't work. Because if this is 6, it's got a value of 12. How do you construct a value of 12, given you can double any of these digits? I still think the only way of doing it is to have 4 plus 8 as blue digits. But if this is 4 plus 8 as blue digits, or 4 plus 8 at all, this is a 6. And that would need to be a 6 as well in the column. So you can't have 6 here. But if this is 8... couldn't you have doubled 4 here? If you had doubled 4 and single 8, that would give you 16, which doubled 8 would equal. So maybe all you can actually say is that there is a 4 on here, which is still a little bit interesting. Because it's either 3 doubled with 4 to give 10, making this a 5. There may be reasons these options don't work to do with this 4, 5 thing at the top, but I can't see them at the moment. Or this is double 4, 8. Now there could also be... this is one of each colour as well, isn't it? That's the other thing we're picking up here. These can't both be doubled, because the only way they could both be doubled is if they're 3 and 4. And that would require a 7 here. So this is one of each. And it definitely includes a 4. So neither of these is a 4. The 4 fixes a 5 at the top of the grid, fixes a 4 here. Puts a 4 down here. Puts a 5 in one of those, probably here, but I don't think I can prove it. Now, that really hasn't helped me then. I don't think. I know one of... No, I don't. I know one of those. Well, I do know one of those is doubled. I don't think I know what the other one is. But there may be a way I'm meant to know that. And then I've got another arrow emerging from the fog here. That digit is at least a 3. That digit could be anything, I think. And we don't know where the circle is. It could be here, but it could be anywhere. So this doesn't feel... That there doesn't feel like the next step, I have to say. Right. So that's terrifying. Okay, what we might be able to say, what would happen if this was 1 on top of 2? That, oh no, that might not work. I'm not sure. But let's think about this. I obviously can't put the numbers in because there's a danger if I'm correct, it will reveal what's under the fog, and then we'll know, and that just pollutes your thinking, so I'm not going to do that. So if this was 1, what I'm saying is this would be 2. This would be 2 by Sudoku now, going into this square. And this has removed our ability to have double 1 off this arrow, because we can't get to the 1 in this column. So how is that then working? This would have to be doubled, wouldn't it? And so it would be worth 4. And we could go into a 1-3 pair. Let's just have a look at the shading of that to see whether there's anything obvious that's a problem. This would have to be doubled. Yeah, but how could this be now doubled? It can't be. If it's doubled 1, and that's creating a checkerboard. Sorry, if it's not, no, that's absolute nonsense. If it's not doubled, we've created a checkerboard. If we double it, it must be a 1 going into a 2, but the 2's been hypothecated to this. It's complicated, but I don't think it works. I don't see a way that you can do it this way round. So, I'm just going to give it one more thought. If this is, I need value of 4 off this square, which could be a 1, but can't be a 1 in this instance because of the checkerboard. Could be a doubled 1, but then I need 2, which I can't get. It's really quite complicated, but I have convinced myself that this is the 1 and the 2. So the 1 is doubled above a 2. Whoops, that's a 2 I'm trying. Ah, that's good. It was right. So the 2 is not doubled. This has to get out now. And we know that this is a 2 because of Sudoku in this box. Aha! So that's not what I expected. I thought we were going to get a diagonal double 1. We can't have a double 1 now. So this has to be doubled. Has to be worth 4. Right, that's blue to avoid a 2 by 2. Oh, we now know the order of this. Oh, this is very clever. This is 4. So this has to be worth 4. And both have to be blue, don't they? It must be a 1-3 pair. There is no other way of doing that. There is no other way. That's a 1-3 pair, which I somehow don't know the order of, but I do know they're both blue. And now this has to get out at the bottom. But this is the more exciting one, I think. Because if we were orange above blue, we'd have a checkerboard here. So it must be blue above orange. Whoops. Avoid a checkerboard here, so that's orange. Avoid a 2 by 2 there, so that's blue. That's orange to avoid a 2 by 2 here. This is interesting now because this orange has been cul-de-saced and has to get out. And now the top of the grid is not connected to the bottom of the grid unless that is orange. So Nessie is becoming strangely shaped. Okay, and has this helped us? Is the next question. I haven't got a clue. Probably. When we were doing this, did we work out which way round the doublers went? 4 was doubled if this was 8, wasn't it? And 3 was doubled if this was 5. So we don't know. We don't know. The doubler is not the 8, is what we know. So this is 3 or 4. And this is never 3. This is either, if double 3 goes with 4, double 4 goes with 8. Yeah, we could just be a pinch of Sudoku away from finishing all of these squares, but I can't see it. In fact, if that was a 3, we'd also know what was going on, wouldn't we? 1 is in one of these 3 squares by Sudoku. This square's now gone up slightly in value. So the minimum sum of those squares is now 7, I guess, if that's a 3 and that's a 4, and they're both undoubled. You know, with GDC it's going to be some terrible trickery we're going to have to spot. What's going on in this column then? 3, 5 and 7 to place. But no clue about how that works. I know there's a 7 down here. How is this 1, 3 not resolved? That feels odd to me. Oh, the storm's coming in again. It looks miserable out there. Right, okay, let's try something else. So what is it going to be? Do we think it's yin yang? Or do we think... Is there some way I know where this goes, or what any of its colours are? I suppose if that's blue, that's orange. That would be blue. So double blue here. That would be blue. That's mildly interesting. That would be orange. Oh, this would all be orange. Oh, that is quite interesting. Right, so what I'm noticing is if we do make that blue, because this has to get out, this would be blue. Avoid a checkerboard, this is blue. So if you make this blue, both cells here are blue. This is penned in and would have to get out along the bottom. But we don't know. We know this square is either an arrow square or it's the circle. But if these were quite big, this could be a doubler, couldn't it? Or is it Sudoku, maybe? Oh, hang on. I want to undo my colouring there. If this is orange, does anything happen? No, then it's much less clear what's going on. It's a bit like over here where by putting something close to the boundary that was the same colour as the boundary, it forced a lot. But when putting something that's not the same colour as the boundary, it really doesn't force very much. Okay, so could it be Sudoku? I doubt it, but let's just check that. 1 and 2 go into those squares. I wonder if this is somehow resolved and I just haven't worked out why. Because this would... That's foggy, isn't it? It would tell me what this was going on with this arrow. I'm suspicious that I've missed something about that. But let's just keep going. Sudoku tells us... Yeah, this is a 129 triple by Sudoku. So we haven't put 3, 4 and 5 into these squares. Oh, please. It's so nearly causing things to happen. Look, it's really close there. Oh, wow. This square. There we go. This is actually good news, because this square is now a naked single 9, and that... Oh, so this was a circle. This is not 9 anymore. And if this is 9, what is the colour of this? Well, it must be orange, mustn't it? Because its value is more than 9. And if that's orange, this blue has to get out. So this one does it. I suppose we could have also concluded that this must be a blue 9, because otherwise this would be impossible to do. Okay, so now I'm less convinced than I was that this is resolved. I think we might have to resolve it by using this arrow. Now let's think about this. So do we here is a good point. Parity tells us that this is an even digit, it's an even value. This is an odd value. So what's the value of this? Odd. How do you create an odd value in this puzzle? The only way is if it's not a doubler. So this is lovely. That forces the shading. This has to come out. This has to connect. That is the shading. We've done the shading. All we've got to do now, that we know this is an odd value. It's not 1 or 9. So it's 3, 5 or 7. We may be able to improve. Oh no, it's not 3 by the column logic. So it's 5 or 7. So if this is 5, we're on 14. This is a 7. And if this is 7, this is 16, and we need an 8, which we can't have. So we must use 5. We must use 7. And that must mean something. So now this is 5 in the column. This is 5. This is 3. This is 4. This is a 5-7 pair at the bottom here. This is 4 by Sudoku. These squares here are a 3-4 pair. That means I've got a 3-4 pair here. Oh, I've got a 5 here as well, so that's useful. 5, 6, 8 at last. Right, this is 5, which was, we were achieving that with double 3 and 4. Okay, let's hope this is working. 3, 4 and 6 go into these squares. Yeah, that's 7, that's okay. That's 8. These squares are a 1-2 pair. This is 7. This is 5. This is 5 in the corner. It looks like it's working, doesn't it? It really does. This is a 6-8 pair. These squares are 3, 4 and 7. And the 7 must go at the top. This row. This is 4, 6 or 8. It's a naked single. It's 4. So that's 8. This is 8. This is 6. This 3 is finally unwinding this nonsense over here. So that's good. We need a something in this column, which is going to be a 3, 4, 9. We can write 9 in there, clearing the last bit of fog. What have we not put in? 6 into this column. And what are those squares? 1 and 6. Oh, that's good. So that's 6, that's 1, that's 1, that's 2, that's 2, that's 8. Do we think that that has credibility as a solution? Probably. Yay. Very, very nice. As always, GDC. Double-scaled harmony. That was very, very clever. I liked the beginning very much. I liked this arrow being forced. I loved the fact I could get the perimeter. I mean, it was really well structured, the way some of these arrows, you knew even though they were complicated things living under the fog, you knew exactly the shape of them. And I had this was the devil's own job, working out what was going on here and here. I'll be very interested in the comments whether I've missed an option or two. Not in terms of, I think, well, this is famous last words. I think I spotted all of the so it wasn't like this could have been I don't know, a 9 as well or something. I don't think I missed options, but I can well believe that I missed a smoother way of working out which order this went in. It was very clever. Very clever that had a solution that required the 1, 2 to be on the left side rather than here, because it would pen in an impossibility. But it was just very clever, very fascinating as well. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.